When life breaks you, it often does so in silence. There's no warning, no alarm. One day, you're full of dreams, plans, ambitions, and the next, you're buried under the weight of disappointment, betrayal, and exhaustion. It feels like the world is moving forward without you, like everyone else is winning except you. But let me tell you something, this isn't where your story ends. This is where your comeback begins. You weren't broken to stay broken. You were broken to be rebuilt stronger. You were pushed down so you could learn how to rise, but not just rise, elevate, transform, transcend. You need to understand something fundamental about your life. The moment you begin to focus on yourself, you begin to rise again. Right now, you're probably overwhelmed by the noise around you, what they're saying, what they think, how they judge, and how they compare. But here's the truth. None of that matters. The world loves to dictate your worth based on your setbacks, but you have the power to redefine your future. And it starts with focus. Focus isn't a skill, it's a decision, a commitment, a promise you make to yourself to no longer betray your own potential by chasing validation, applause, or attention. When you focus on yourself, you withdraw your energy from things that drain you. You cut the noise. You reclaim your mind, your emotions, your time, and your life. You've been carrying pain that isn't yours to carry, trying to fix others while you're still bleeding, waiting for them to see your worth, acknowledge your struggle, validate your existence. But how long will you wait? How many pieces of yourself will you give away before you realize you were never meant to be small? This is your reminder. The world will watch in silence while you fall, but it'll try to claim you when you rise. So stop performing for an audience that isn't clapping. Start building for yourself. Your comeback begins with focus. It's a truth that many people overlook because when life knocks them down, their first instinct is to look outward, blame circumstances, seek validation from others, or wait for someone to come fix the chaos. But what they don't realize is that true transformation never begins externally. It always starts within. When your world is falling apart and everything feels uncertain, the only thing you can truly control is your focus. That becomes your power. That becomes the foundation of your rise. In moments of defeat or discouragement, it's easy to spiral. Your mind begins to replay the failures, the losses, the words people used to bring you down. You get caught in comparison and what others have achieved, what others think of you, and what you're supposedly lacking. But none of that will save you. None of that will restore your power. It's only when you pull your energy back to yourself, reclaim your attention from all the distractions, and begin to focus inward that the healing starts to happen. Your comeback begins the moment you say, enough. I'm not giving my energy away anymore. I'm not living for their opinions. I'm not chasing their approval. I'm focusing on me. Focus is a decision. It's not something you wait for. It's something you choose. And that choice doesn't just change your mindset. It changes your life. Because what you focus on grows. If you keep focusing on your pain grows. If you keep focusing on your flaws, your insecurities multiply. But if you begin to focus on your growth, your potential, your goals, then slowly, day by day, those parts of you begin to rise. You begin to build momentum. You begin to see progress, not because everything changed overnight, but because you finally committed to changing your direction. That's what rising is about, changing direction. Many people waste their lives because they're distracted. They're spread thin, trying to please everyone, prove their worth, or keep up with an illusion of perfection. But what they don't realize is that success, true, lasting success, requires stillness. It requires solitude. It requires the discipline to shut everything else out and pour energy back into yourself. That is the difference between people who rise again and those who remain stuck. The ones who rise make the bold decision to stop watching others and start working on themselves. And once that decision is made, everything begins to shift. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you're finally choosing to be responsible for your own life. You're taking back ownership. You're no longer waiting for motivation to show up. You're becoming your own motivator. You're no longer trying to be seen. You're learning to see yourself. You stop asking for permission to grow and start giving yourself the authority to transform. And in doing so, you begin to build a foundation so strong that nothing can knock you off your path again. It all comes back to focus. Where you put your energy is where your life flows. If you want to rise, you need to be intentional about where your attention goes. Every time you feel like quitting, redirect your focus. Every time you feel lost, realign your focus. And every time the world tries to distract you, remind yourself that you are in the middle of a comeback. And that comeback is fueled by the power of your focus. Stay locked in, stay committed, because the moment you truly begin to focus on yourself is the exact moment you begin to rise again. Discipline over motivation. That's the shift that separates people who dream from people who do. Motivation is great when it shows up, but it's unreliable. It's based on emotion, on how you feel in the moment. And the truth is, most days you won't feel like it. You won't feel like working out. You won't feel like studying. You won't feel like doing the hard things that create long-term results. That's where most people stop. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect moment. But those who rise again, those who transform their lives, know that discipline is what carries you through the days when motivation disappears. Discipline is built through repetition. It's the decision to do what needs to be done even when every part of you wants to quit. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's saying no to distractions when they tempt you the most. It's choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. And it's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's what creates excellence. It's what builds self-respect. Because every time you honor your commitments, you send a message to yourself. I can trust me. And that trust, that's where confidence is born. When you focus on yourself and adopt discipline as your mindset, your life starts to change in ways you can't even imagine. Your standards get higher, your habits improve, your goals become non-negotiable. You stop relying on how you feel and you start relying on who you've decided to be. That shift is powerful. It means you're no longer at the mercy of your emotions or your environment. You're in control. You're the driver now. And drivers don't wait. They move forward no matter what. Think about it. Anyone can start something when they're excited. But who keeps going when no one's watching? Who keeps showing up when the results are invisible, when progress is slow, when the journey is lonely? That's the person who wins. That's the person who rises. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about doing the right thing over and over again until it becomes second nature. And once it does, your whole identity changes. You start to become someone who doesn't need to be pushed. You pull yourself. You don't need to be reminded. You remember your mission. You don't make excuses. You make adjustments. That's what discipline gives you, freedom. Most people think discipline is restriction, but it's the opposite. It frees you from regret. It frees you from chaos. It frees you from the trap of starting over again and again because you lacked consistency. When you're disciplined, you don't need to chase motivation. It finds you because you've built momentum. And here's what's beautiful about it. Discipline compounds. Every small act of discipline today sets the foundation for who you're becoming tomorrow. One focused hour today may feel insignificant, but do it daily, and you've created a new lifestyle. That's how you rise, brick by brick, choice by choice. And the best part, it doesn't require talent. It doesn't require luck. It only requires commitment. No one's coming to force you to show up. No one's going to build your dream for you. If you want it, you have to work for it every single day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. That's where growth happens. That's where breakthroughs are born. The discomfort is part of the process. Embrace it, lean into it, because you're not building a moment, you're building a mindset, a life, a legacy. And that legacy begins with one truth. Discipline will take you further than motivation ever could. Letting go of the past is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's also the most powerful step toward personal growth. The past has a way of gripping us, replaying scenes over and over again in our minds, what we should have done, what they did to us, what we lost, where we failed. It feels like a loop we can't escape. And the more we focus on it, the heavier it becomes. But here's the truth. No amount of overthinking or regret can change what happened. The past is done. You don't live there anymore. And until you accept that, you can't fully step into who you're becoming. You cannot rise while clinging to what broke you. The weight of past pain will always pull you backward. If you want to grow forward, you have to release what no longer serves you. That means letting go of the anger, the resentment, the guilt, the shame. You may think holding on keeps you safe or keeps you in control, but all it does is drain your energy and blur your vision. It locks you in survival mode. Growth cannot happen in survival mode. Growth needs space, emotional space, mental space, spiritual space. And that space is created when you release what was and make room for what can be. Sometimes it's not even about letting go of people or situations. It's about letting go of the identity that was tied to them. The version of you that tolerated less than you deserved, the version that settled for mediocrity, the version that didn't know their worth. You've outgrown that person, and that's okay. That version of you did their best. But now it's time to evolve. And you can't do that if you keep dragging your old story into your new chapter. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's not pretending it didn't happen. It's acknowledging it, learning from it, and deciding it no longer gets to define you. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it shaped you, but it doesn't own you. You are not your trauma. You are not your mistakes. You are not what they did to you. You are what you choose to become despite all of it. That's where your power is, in the choice. You can choose to stay stuck, or you can choose to move forward. And the moment you choose growth, everything begins to change. This doesn't mean the healing is instant. Letting go is a process. Some days you'll feel free, and some days the memories will sneak back in and try to pull you down. But with each day that you choose to focus forward instead of backward, your strength grows. You begin to build new patterns, new thoughts, new standards. And before you know it, the past that once haunted you becomes a distant echo, not because it was erased, but because it no longer controls. You have to remind yourself that what's ahead of you is far more important than what's behind you. There is no growth in clinging to what's gone. The people who left, let them go. The opportunities you missed, they weren't meant for you. The version of you that made poor choices, forgive them. They didn't know better, but now you do. And with that awareness comes a new responsibility to show up as your healed, present, focused self, not your wounded, stuck, or reactive self. Growth begins where the past ends. And it ends the moment you stop feeding it your energy. Every time you look back, you rob yourself of the moment you're in right now. And this moment, the one you're breathing in right now, is where your power lives. Choose to be here, choose to move forward, choose to grow, because you're not who you were and you're not who you used to be, you're becoming. And that becoming starts the moment you let the past go and decide to grow forward. Chat. Clarity doesn't come from noise, it comes from silence. In a world that constantly screams for your attention, solitude can feel uncomfortable, even unnatural. But that silence you avoid, that stillness you keep running from, it's where the answers live. When everything around you is loud, expectations, opinions, distractions, you lose the ability to hear your own voice. And when you lose that, you lose direction. That's why so many people feel lost. It's not because they lack potential, but because they've forgotten how to listen to themselves. And the only way to rediscover that voice is to disconnect and go inward. Isolation isn't the enemy. It's the birthplace of clarity. When you step away from the noise of the world, you step into the truth of who you are. You begin to see what matters and what doesn't. You realize how much time you've spent trying to impress people who never cared. How often you've betrayed yourself to fit into spaces that never respected your value. Solitude exposes all of it. It forces you to confront your patterns, your pain, your truth. And it's not always pretty, but it's necessary because growth doesn't come from hiding. It comes from facing. The discomfort you feel in solitude is actually the resistance of your ego. Your ego wants distraction. It wants noise. It wants chaos to keep you from discovering your real power. Because once you do, everything changes. When you sit in stillness, you begin to process your pain, understand your habits, and reconnect with your values. You begin to ask the right questions. Who am I without the noise? What do I truly want? What's holding me back? And from those questions, answers start to rise slowly, quietly, authentically. That's clarity. And clarity isn't just about knowing what to do. It's about knowing who you are. When you're clear about who you are, you stop accepting less. You stop chasing people who ignore you. You stop explaining yourself to those who misunderstand you. You don't need to prove anything anymore because you've met yourself in the silence, and that self-awareness becomes your compass. It guides your choices, your relationships, your path. No more guessing, no more reacting, just intentional, powerful living. You don't need a crowd to confirm your worth. You don't need constant stimulation to feel alive. The quiet life, the life that's lived with intention, depth, and focus is where you thrive. But to access that, you must first break free from the addiction to noise. That means putting down your phone, stepping away from toxic conversations, and creating space where your mind can breathe. It's not about cutting everyone off forever. It's about tuning in long enough to hear your soul again. And when you do, you realize how powerful you really are, not because someone hyped you up, but because you heard your own conviction in the silence. You saw your own strength. You faced your own demons and didn't run. That kind of inner power can't be faked. It's earned. And once you earn it, the world can't take it from you. Clarity is a gift you give yourself when you choose presence over distraction. It's what allows you to walk away from what doesn't serve you and move toward what fulfills you. It doesn't come all at once. It comes in layers. But every moment you spend in intentional solitude adds another piece to the puzzle. And one day you look back and realize you've built a vision so clear, so grounded, that nothing outside of you can shake it. So step into the quiet. Embrace the stillness. It's not empty. It's full of everything you need to rise. Because when the world gets silent, your soul speaks. And what it tells you could change everything. You are the author of your transformation. It's easy to forget that in a world where everyone is waiting for someone else to give them permission, to hand them an opportunity, to notice their potential. But the truth is, no one's coming to save you. No one is going to swoop in and fix your life. The breakthrough you're waiting for is not in someone else's hands. It's in yours. You have the pen. You have the paper. And whether you realize it or not, you are writing your story with every decision you make, every habit you form, every boundary you set, and every belief you hold about yourself. The minute you take responsibility for where you are is the same minute you take power over where you are going. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. It's about realizing that your healing, your growth, your success, and your peace are within your control. People might have hurt you, life might have knocked you down, but staying down, that's your decision. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you respond to it, how you rise from it, and what you do next. And when you stop outsourcing your power and bring it back to yourself, you begin to change, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Transformation is not a lightning strike. It's not a moment of magic. It's a process. It's uncomfortable. It's often quiet, but it's yours. No one else is going to put in the work for you. No one else is going to wake up early and change your habits. No one is going to rewrite the limiting beliefs that live in your mind. You have to be the one who says, I'm done being stuck. I'm done living small. I'm done waiting for a sign. That's when everything begins to shift. When you stop waiting and start becoming. Every excuse you've made, every reason you've told yourself that you're not ready, not capable, not worthy, those are just stories. And the beauty is you can rewrite them. You can let go of the narrative that says you're broken. You can replace it with one that says you're becoming whole. You can discard the identity that says you always fail and adopt one that says you're learning and growing. But none of that will happen unless you take the pen and write something new. Your past might have been written by pain, by trauma, by other people's choices, but your future, that's yours to write, and you can start today. Being the author of your transformation means you take ownership of both the good and the hard. You don't just celebrate your wins, you own your mistakes. You don't just envision the future, you take action to create it. You no longer wait for external validation because internal alignment becomes your driving force. You begin to recognize that transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you really are, the version of you that's been buried under doubt, fear, and noise. So stop waiting for a breakthrough and realize you are the breakthrough. Stop waiting for a mentor, a relationship, a job to validate your worth. You are already worthy. You are already enough, but you have to claim it. You have to believe it. And then you have to live like it. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a word in the story you're writing. So make it count. Write something powerful. Write something bold. Because the story of your comeback, your healing, your greatness, it doesn't need permission. It just needs you to pick up the pen and write. Energy is currency. Where you invest it determines your wealth, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And most people don't even realize they're going bankrupt every day, not because they lack potential, but because they keep spending their energy in places that give them nothing in return. They waste hours trying to be understood by people who refuse to listen. They stay in environments that drain them. They overextend for those who never reciprocate. And all the while, their energy, this precious, powerful force that could be used to build something great, is being burned away by distraction, drama, and dead weight. The truth is, your energy is sacred. It's your life force. It fuels your focus, your creativity, your emotional stability, and your ability to rise. When it's depleted, everything suffers. Your mindset collapses, your motivation disappears, and your peace is replaced with anxiety. But when your energy is protected, you become unstoppable. You move with clarity. You act with intention. You show up fully present in your goals, your relationships, your purpose. And that shift doesn't require a miracle. It requires boundary. You have to start paying attention to what and who drains you. Start noticing the conversations that leave you feeling empty, the people who always seem to need something from you but give nothing back, the habits that feel good in the moment but rob you of long-term peace. Your energy doesn't just disappear. It's being spent. And if you're not mindful of where it's going, you'll wake up every day exhausted, unmotivated, and disconnected from yourself, wondering why you feel stuck. It's not that you don't have the strength to grow. It's that your strength is being wasted in all the wrong places. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It's strategic. It's the most self-respecting thing you can do, because when you preserve your energy, you have more to invest in what actually matters. Your healing, your growth, your mission, your peace. And it's not about cutting everyone off or living in isolation. It's about getting clear on who's feeding your energy and who's feeding off it. It's about surrounding yourself with people and environments that uplift you, challenge you, and encourage your evolution, not those who constantly require you to shrink, explain, or defend your worth. You only have so much energy in a day. Every conversation, every thought, every decision, it's all energy. And if you keep giving it away to things that don't grow you, you'll have nothing left for the things that do. Imagine if you took the same energy you use worrying about what they think, chasing people who are indifferent, or replaying your past, and reinvested it into your future, into your fitness, your business, your self-worth, your peace of mind. Imagine how far you could go. Imagine how powerful you'd feel. That's what it means to protect your energy, not to retreat, but to rise with intention. And here's the reality. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Some will feel offended. Some will call you selfish. Let them misunderstand, because your life is not their responsibility. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your energy just because they demand it. You owe it to yourself to rise. And rising requires conservation. It requires discipline. It requires you to say no more often, to walk away more quickly, to listen to your inner guidance more deeply. So take your energy seriously. Track it, protect it, redirect it, because it is the most powerful resource you have. And if you want to rise again, if you truly want to step into the next version of yourself, it starts with being ruthless about what you allow into your space. You don't have to do more. You just have to do less of what's stealing your power. Protect your energy, and you protect your peace. Protect your peace, and you rise stronger, clearer, and more unstoppable than ever. Success doesn't come from proving them wrong. It comes from proving yourself right. Too often, we get caught in the trap of external validation, waiting for someone to finally see us, to acknowledge our worth, to say, you were right all along. And while that desire is understandable, it's also dangerous, because the more you tie your success to someone else's recognition, the more power you give them over your direction. You begin living your life like a performance, crafting your every move to be seen, to be applauded, to be accepted. But real power isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It's quiet, steady, rooted in purpose, not reaction. When you shift your focus from external validation to internal conviction, something incredible happens. You stop chasing approval and start chasing alignment. You no longer move to impress others, you move to honor yourself. That's the true definition of rising, doing what's right for you, even when no one is watching, even when the people who doubted you never apologize, even when they still don't get it, because your life is not about proving them wrong. It's about becoming someone you're proud of. That pride isn't born in public wins. It's born in private discipline, in silent consistency, in the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and why you're not going to quit. The danger of living to prove others wrong is that your fuel is temporary. Anger burns hot, but it burns out fast. And once you get the success you were chasing, you're left empty, because it wasn't built on purpose. It was built on pain. And pain may drive you, but it can't sustain you. What sustains you is purpose, conviction, integrity, the quiet fire that says, even if no one claps, I'm still going to show up. Even if no one believes in me, I still believe in me. That's unshakable. That's success. That's what lasts. You have to become your own proof. You have to become the evidence of your growth, the living example of your evolution. Not for them, for you, because it's your life, your vision, your journey, and no one else has to get it. They don't need to see what you see. They don't need to agree with your dream. They don't even need to respect your process. You're not building a life that makes sense to others. You're building a life that feels right for you. And that means sometimes doing things that are misunderstood. It means being okay with not being liked. It means choosing long-term purpose over short-term applause. Let go of the need to be validated. Let go of the urge to post every move, to explain every decision, to convince everyone you're on the right path. Just walk it. Just live it. Because the people who really matter won't need convincing, and the people who need convincing don't really matter. What matters is that you're in alignment, that you're walking in your truth, that you're showing up daily with authenticity and discipline, not for likes, not for praise, but because this is who you are now. And that version of you, that version doesn't chase validation. They don't beg to be seen. They are seen by themselves, and that's enough. The moment you stop proving yourself to them is the moment you start proving yourself to you. And when you do that, when you finally stop performing and start living, you realize that success isn't about the spotlight. It's about the peace, the freedom, the knowing that you're not living in reaction to your past, but in a creation of your future. That's power. That's growth. That's what it means to rise, not to show them what they missed, but to show yourself what you're capable of, not to make them regret it, but to make yourself proud. Every step forward, every silent win, every decision rooted in purpose is you proving to yourself that you are becoming exactly who you were meant to be.